In the United States, we don't think of malaria as being too much of a problem. I mean, no one would ever suggest building a wall as high as the Washington Monument around Washington, D.C. just to keep the mosquitoes out. But in 1882, someone did just that.
Malaria was such a problem in the U.S. Capitol that a physician named Albert King suggested that the only way to eradicate the disease from the city would be to build just such a fence. But we've come a long, long way since then. Mankind has been fighting malaria for thousands of years. It was in ancient China, Egypt, and Greece. The malaria parasites traveled to the New World in the blood of the first colonists of Jamestown, Virginia. The yellow color on this map represents regions affected by malaria. After Jamestown, malaria had spread across the New World as high as Canada. As the United States became more developed, agriculture improved, the landscape changed. People built better houses with tighter screens. All these factors helped reduce the problem of malaria in the North. Gradually, malaria in the U.S. became largely a plague of the southern states. In 1946, the newly formed CDC launched the National Malaria Eradication Program in the southern United States. The program was centered around the use of DDT to spray homes and mosquito breeding sites, sometimes from airplanes. By 1951, malaria was considered eradicated from the United States. Encouraged by the successes in the United States, the World Health Organization began a worldwide eradication effort that involves spraying homes and mosquito breeding sites with DDT and distribution of anti-malarial drugs. The program had major successes in regions with temperate climates, such as in Europe, or countries with strong healthcare systems. In other countries, such as India and South Africa, cases of malaria were dramatically reduced. And other areas, such as most of sub-Saharan Africa, were left out of the eradication program entirely. The malaria war dragged on, and insecticide and drug resistance became a problem. DDT fell out of favor. The U.S. model didn't work in the developing world. Attention and funding shifted away from the malaria cause, and nations where it had not totally been eradicated, like India, saw the disease return with a vengeance. This map shows malaria in the world today. Millions of people are sickened each year with malaria, and about 800,000 people die, mostly children. Malaria still cripples industry and development in many parts of the world. However, we have new programs and better tools to fight malaria than ever before, and more partners. In recent years, we have seen dramatic successes again in some parts of the world. History shows us that malaria requires an aggressive fight with every tool at our disposal. Different climates, societies, and different types of mosquitoes require different action plans. History also shows that malaria is tied to development, and so we have to fight both. Because of the constant movement of people in today's society, no one can lose vigilance. The human race has been fighting malaria for thousands of years.
Malaria still plagues almost half of the world today. In mankind's 4,000-year-long fight against malaria, there are no neutral nations.